Hello, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to dive into the 4 key steps to creating a curriculum for your online course that people actually want to buy. And why is this so important? Because oftentimes people make so many common mistakes when they're building out a course curriculum and they overcomplicate it, and it leads to the program not selling at all or selling for a short period of time and then kind of fizzling out. So if that describes where you are in any way, let me know in the comments below. If this is exciting to you, give me a like. Be sure to subscribe for new videos every week. This is a place to build a peaceful, purposeful, and profitable online education business so you can have a massive impact on the people who need you most while also not having to trade time for money. Now, how do I know how to do this? Well, I've served thousands of people in creating their own unique online program that can scale, and we have some clients that are scaling all the way up to hundreds of thousands of dollars a month without spending a dime on paid advertising using organic marketing strategy. And I'm so proud of our clients and their success stories, and I've been in this industry for a really long time, and it pains me to see some of the most common mistakes people are making, especially when it comes to building the curriculums of their program, because people don't understand that the curriculum inside of your program is a big indicator of whether or not it's going to stand the test of time. So let's dig into what it takes to build a curriculum that people actually want to buy. And if you're really serious about this, I put together an entire masterclass for you for free that you can check out at the link below. So you can see the entire process of how our clients are building this into a whole business and not just the curriculum. So you can click the link below to access that after you watch this video. So step number 1 is you have to identify the ideal client journey. Huge mistake that people make when they create an online program is they think about it in terms of serving people in a one-to-one context or an offline context. So if you have a business that you're running currently, maybe it's a brick and mortar business, maybe it's a studio, maybe it's a facility of some kind, or you've been doing one-on-one coaching for a long time and you're trying to transition into an online program, one of the biggest holdups is that you're trying to structure a curriculum for that setting versus an online program. The biggest difference when you're creating an online course curriculum is that you're taking your clients on what we like to call the hero's journey, from a 0 state to a hero state. So you need to understand for your ideal client, what is the particular 0 state that they're starting at and what is the hero state. And when I say this, there are 3 key factors of who your ideal client is and how you're going to build that curriculum to make sure it's the most efficient and effective. Why is that so important? Because when people buy an online program, they're buying results. They're not buying information. They don't want it to be jam-packed with all the information under the sun. Why? Because that only delays them getting the outcome that they've invested into, which doesn't help you as the business owner and the curriculum you've created, because ultimately they're going to say it took too long, I gave up, it didn't work for me. So you really need to understand that part. So the 3 factors of an ideal client when it comes to creating a course curriculum is you need to identify one specific ideal client at one specific place on their journey where they're in pain and need the most help and there's urgency associated to it. And finally, what is the specific outcome they are seeking? So we always want to start with that in mind. If you don't do this, 2 of the most common pitfalls when building a curriculum and not doing this step properly are, number 1, if you don't know where they're starting and where they're ending, then you don't know exactly how to build the journey and the transformation for them, and you're gonna have the wrong starting point. So let me give you a real example from someone that I've worked with. The outcome of their program is to define their signature style as a painter, as an oil painter, to feel proud of their work and passion for their work again. So super specific. The starting point of the ideal client is an intermediate painter, but they lack clarity in their style. So they're consistently painting, they're consistently producing work, but they're lacking clarity in their style. So they're feeling frustrated, like they want to give up, and they're losing their joy in their craft. Now, if we just picked the starting point to be this person doesn't know how to paint and they want to learn how to paint, there's no urgency, there's no investment, there's no pain. And when I say investment, it means they're not going to put the time, energy, and resources to achieve that outcome or follow your curriculum because they just don't care that much. It's not vital to them. And the other key reason why this is so important is if you don't identify the specific starting point and end point of your ideal client, because when you're working in a one-on-one setting or in any other kind of setting, you can kind of customize to each client that comes in. You're trading your time for money, you're working individually with them. It's very different. When you're creating a program that you want to have deep impact, you have to get really, really hyper specific. And this is why. This is the second thing that happens if you don't do this correctly. You end up overstuffing your program with information instead of transformation. And so you're taking your client, because you don't know where they're starting, you're taking them on this crazy journey of ups and downs, and you're putting them through so much information to try to achieve the outcome, but the information is all over the place, and it's taking them on a twisty, turny ride to get to that outcome. So again, it's either going to to take them way too long to get a result, and they're going to say the program doesn't work, it sucks, I hate it. You're not going to get any social proof from it, so that means that it's not going to actually be scalable or sellable. Or they're simply just going to give up. And so if they give up entirely, you have no proof behind your program. You have no client results behind your program. And that means that it's not going to stand the test of time. So you have to remember that people are paying for transformation. They're not paying for information with an online program. And getting hyper specific about the starting point and the ending point of your ideal client is step number one to building a curriculum that is going to have a massive impact, a deep transformational outcome for your clients, and is going to be able to last a long time. So I'll give you another example here. One of our clients is a DJ, and he helps bedroom music producers who are already producing good music and have honed their craft go from kind of obscure and frustrated and amateur to producing music at a professional standard so they can be proud of their music and get professional opportunities. And his clients are getting incredible results. And he has scaled from zero all the way up to making $50,000 consistently each month. And why has he been able to do that? Because he knows exactly where the starting point is for his ideal client. So his curriculum starts there. It's not starting all over the place or way back here or way over here. He knows exactly where it's starting and he knows exactly where he's taking them to. So it's really easy to create an efficient, concise, effective curriculum. If this makes sense to you, all I want you to do right now is just put a yes in the comments below. Just giving that confirmation is going to help me understand that this is landing for you, and it's going to help you go, yeah, I think I'm having a light bulb moment. This is actually working. Step number two, create the curriculum backwards. Now, this is so important because oftentimes, again, when you don't know the starting or the ending point, the zero or the hero, you kind of just jam a bunch of information into a curriculum. That's not going to work out very well. So how we teach our clients to do this, and it's super effective, is you start with the hero outcome in mind. Okay, so we know exactly where they're going. We start with the hero outcome, and then we go to the zero outcome. So we know where they're going, where they're starting. We know what their challenges, their pain points, their frustrations are, what they're lacking, what they're seeking. And then the next step is the formula/steps. So you want to just brain dump everything that would be required to get your client from that zero to hero state. And then the final piece is to subtract. And I know that sounds so weird, but why am I saying that? I gave you a clue earlier. Because if you don't take the time to go, okay, is every single step that I'm laying out here 100% necessary to help my client achieve that outcome? You're at risk of overstuffing and adding unnecessary information, which is going to kill the client journey and your client's success, which kills the momentum of your program and your business. So I made a whole other video on how to really understand what your ideal client needs in order to bridge that gap. Of course, you're gonna know from your own experience and your own expertise, but validating this with real humans and then also doing data-driven validation is really important. So I've added that video to a playlist below all about how to create an online course that actually sells. So you're gonna wanna check that out next. Step number 3 is test the prototype curriculum. If you've been here for a while, you know that our process is called a POP, Profitable Offer Prototype. And what this means is it's sort of the bare bones beta first version of your program. And so this is delivered in a live setting. I talked about this in detail in the entire 12 steps it takes to create and structure a profitable online program in last week's video. So that'll be added to the playlist below. Having said that, what you need to understand is because it's a prototype version, you need to understand the structure of how to create the curriculum in that setting, because you're eventually going to turn it into a pre-recorded, pre-packaged program once you've proven the prototype. So the elements of that I'm going to touch on in a moment, but to test the curriculum itself, all you need to do to deliver it for the first round of your clients is use Zoom to deliver it live, and then use Google Drive to store the lessons. And you can use Google Docs to create the actual lessons themselves, or you can use things like PowerPoint or Keynote presentations. So because we've laid out all of the possible potential steps that are required to get your client from zero to hero, and you know what's necessary and what's not, now you have sort of the basis of the curriculum, but that's just sort of a brain dump. Now you're gonna organize it. So step number 1 is you're gonna organize it into modules. You can think about it as categories. So it's sort of an overarching category to achieve a very specific win or outcome. So the module comes first, and it's gonna be broken into however many modules are necessary. For example, in our program, we have 4 modules. Within each of those modules and those categories, you have specific lessons in a sequential order to help achieve the outcome of that module. Now, the next part of this that's really important that I've sort of alluded to a few times now is that after each lesson and after each module as a whole, you need to know the outcome that the client is trying to achieve from that lesson and from that module, so that you know that they're working towards it. So that it's not just a bunch of random information in a random order, but it's actually working them towards the ultimate hero's outcome. So you want to think about each module and the lessons within that module as working towards the ultimate outcome by helping your client take baby steps and achieve micro wins along the way by giving them a clear, actionable process in the right order with actionable steps. Why this is also super beneficial is that you don't have to wait until they finish the entire program to hear about their progress and momentum. If you have very clear outcomes involved in each lesson and module, your clients are going to start to share those as well. And it's going to help you attract and gain even more social proof and validation that your program is working. And step number 4 is iterate, build, and upload. So you have now tested your curriculum. You have done it in a live setting. You know how to structure it with modules and lessons and outcomes. And now what you're gonna do is you're gonna take all the feedback that you got from teaching in that setting, because it's the best way to learn what works, what doesn't work about your curriculum. And I guarantee you, if you build curriculum first and try to deliver it and sell it without testing it on anybody, you're gonna have to redo a lot of it. It happens all the time. So testing it in this setting is the best and most effective and efficient way to get your program to market and to prove it. So once you've tested it, you're going to take the feedback you've gotten, you're going to rearrange things, you're going to iterate, make any changes that you need to the modules and the lessons and the outcomes and the order of events, and you're then going to record it. So redo any sections you need to and record it into pre-recorded modules and lessons that you're then going to upload into your program portal. This then becomes the evergreen or scalable offer prototype, as we like to call it, of your program. And this means that people can study on demand on their own time. You don't have to deliver it live, and it can exist and continue to sell and scale for the rest of time without you having to do any one-to-one or live interaction or delivering in a live setting. And this is really where your online program becomes the super scalable business. And in addition to that, you're going to want to have support calls and community involved in the process and in the structure, which I talked about in detail, like I said in last week's video. So you can check that out for more information on that. And by doing that, you've created a robust program that's guaranteed to deliver the result to the client that needs it the most. And this allows you to create a legacy business, because once it's prepackaged, once it's pre-recorded, and people can study at their own pace whenever they want to, they don't need to rely on you and your time to get the outcome that they're seeking. And so if anything were to happen to you, if you needed to step away from the business, your program can still deliver results without you having to be actively involved. And so once you have all that, you just upload it to the hosting platform of your choice. That's the easiest part. People get so hung up on the tech and what they should use to host their course when they don't even think about, is my curriculum gonna work, or is it good enough, or is it actually impactful? So that's the easiest part. Once you have this part done and you have these 4 steps tackled, you're good to go. So I want to know right now, what is the online program that you want to create, and what's a lesson idea that you have? Put it in the comment section below. I love to see your takeaways. It really means a lot, and it's why I create these videos. So it gives me a little extra motivation to continue. If you like this, be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe for new videos every week. And like I said, I have a whole masterclass I've created to bring all of the steps together for you to show you actual real client results and how they've been able to turn this into a sustainable and scalable online course business. So be sure to check that out in the link in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.